Before we get on to this week's edition of the Q&A, we just want to announce that next week, as it's going to be the WrestleMania week, we're going to be doing a WrestleMania-themed Q&A. Now, those of you that have already sent in WrestleMania-themed questions, they will be answered on that Q&A. But if you want to ask us some WrestleMania-themed questions, anything to do with any WrestleMania, this year's WrestleMania, anything to do with WrestleMania, please put them in the comment section on this video, and I will include them in that Q&A. We will go for as long or as how many fucking questions you guys answer. So if you guys ask us 100 questions, we'll answer them all.
Because this goes back to me saying we miss, or I miss, doing the hour-long Q&As. It just depends on how many questions we get from this big WrestleMania Q&A.
Yes, but for this week, we will start off with our normal Q&A. Oh, by the way, I'm Mr. Bag and this guy is NJ, people.
What's up?
We are, of course, the British Fist.
Gotcha!
And NJ, you just spat on me a little bit there. That was kind of disgusting, but there we go. Let's get on to this Q&A number 146. The first question is from Thunder Knight 19. Do you think pushing guys like Sheamus, Del Rio, and Bray Wyatt straight to the main event has damaged the prestige of the IC and US championships? I guess, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really know the answer to that question, because a lot of wrestlers will just get pushed to the main event because WWE really just wants to get them to the main event as quick and make them seem like stars as quickly as possible.
Well, if I quickly go through your list, Sheamus, it was a bit of a chance with the Body Ventura storyline thingamajiggy. Del Rio, fans knew it was coming. They were saying, let's make it happen. Bray Wyatt, I think his character, he could go anywhere and fit.
His character doesn't really need a title, does it? Let's face it. I mean, maybe you can have the tag team championships on Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, but I don't think the Bray Wyatt character really needs championships, and I think you could feud with pretty much anyone on the card, whether it be mid-card or main event. So there are some characters, such as Bray Wyatt, where it does kind of work, and you want to make them feel like a big deal because they have such a unique character. But yes, I mean, the IC and the US Championships do seem a little bit below some superstars, which can make the prestige of it, damaged just a little bit. Laryl Lewis, why does NXT seem better than the actual WWE product? Mainly because there are a couple of reasons for this. Number one, it's only an hour. So even if it's not very good, it's only an hour. You're not that bothered about it. Also, NXT, because it's not seen as by as many people, they can take more risks. They can do more risque characters and stuff, which is why the show feels a little bit better. And secondly, it's a developmental show, so they can't really stretch the boundaries as much. And let's face it, a lot of people on the IWC probably just prefer simple booking.
Well, third and fourth, in my opinion, is because NXT is a group of wrestlers who we don't get to see each and every week. We're seeing something different. We're seeing new matches. We're seeing them progress. We're seeing them come to the main roster, again, to give us new matches. So I think it's the new aspect compared to the same thing each and every week you see in Raw and SmackDown.
What do you think each member of the Shield will do after they break up? Roman Reigns will be a top babyface, definitely. Maybe Seth Rollins will be a Jeff Hardy type risk-taking babyface, and I think Dean Ambrose will just be a Brian Pillman style heel. I think they've made their characters now going forward pretty obvious, in my opinion, by the way they've been booked and presented.
I think the WWE should be really careful with Roman Reigns, because every big guy has had the tendency to turn from face to heel just when the WWE want them to be, because they can. I think Roman Reigns, when they found what he's good at, stick to it instead of changing it. Rollins, yes, it's typical slim body, can do all these high moves and that, but we need someone to come into the W and provide that for us once again. And Ambrose, it's a bit of a shame that one minute he was getting teased as he's going to be being pushed further. That may still come back quite strongly. So I think he's just going to be one of the strong talkers in the WWE.
He'd be a heel, though, definitely. Do you think the PG era will ever end? And if not, what would you do to improve it? I mean, the PG era at some point will have to end because times will change, like the Attitude era and the Hogan era, etc. And if it was forever, how would you improve it? It would have to be the writing. The writing would have to improve big time.
I think, to be honest, the PG era will most likely end because, when Linda does the Senate thing again, it's going to change it to PGG or something crazy like that. Something more secure that nothing can go wrong, and we'll lose a bunch of wrestlers again. And also, the way to make it better or work long term, writing will be a good part, because obviously that also expands to allowing the wrestlers to have their say and their roam in what they want to do to fit in the storyline.
Abdullah Shakar 7. When did you start hating John Cena?
When did I start liking him? Never. So to be honest, with John Cena being absolutely ridiculous each and every week, the same thing each and every week, trying to be funny each and every week, I get bored of him quickly, and that's not seeming to change.
So since 2002, then, when he debuted?
2001. 2000, yeah.
2002 it was when he debuted against Kurt Angle on SmackDown. Said he had the ruthless aggression. Richard Collins, with tag teams splitting up such as the Shield, the Real Americans, and the Primetime Players, and that we've seen the New Age Outlaws come back. Which of these tag teams would you like to see back? The Hart Dynasty, the World's Greatest Tag Team, or Eminem? And who would you like them to feud with? I think the most logical out of them, I think, would probably be Eminem. Personally, the Hart Dynasty really never caught on. The World's Greatest Tag Team have been in ROH now, and they're kind of old. Eminem are still not really all that old, and they have some sort of gimmick, and it would help bring John Morrison back to the fold.
My answer would change a bit because, to be honest, Morrison's proven that he can be a singles wrestler on his own. So for him to come back and prove him being John Morrison and give him a good run somewhere would be great. Hart Dynasty, it would somehow save the Hart family a little bit, but I'm going to go with the World's Greatest Tag Team. They may be old, but some of their performances, especially from Shelton Benjamin, I wouldn't mind seeing back in the WWE.
That's who they will feud with, the Usos. Has to be the Usos. So. American Alucard. Why does WWE have Yoshi Tatsu in developmental or without a new character when he is proven Japanese? Because you look at Yoshi Tatsu and, what does he really offer apart from a Japanese character that you kind of can't take seriously?
It's like Yoshi got involved with the YouTube channel, the WWE YouTube channel, hanging around with Santino Marella. So it shows that maybe he's got some comedy in him, but to be taken seriously just because he's Japanese, the WWE doesn't seem to do well with him compared to Kai and Tai.
Give him a Kai and Tai gimmick, he'd get over. Just saying. Indeed. Just give him that. What do you think of Jimmy Jacobs, Johnny Gargano, and the Young Bucks? On ROH, I thought Jimmy Jacobs was typical ROH guy, but at least he had some kind of unique character. Johnny Gargano, I haven't seen too much of. The Young Bucks are high-flying tag teams that really will never ever make it in the top professional wrestling tiers of wrestling because, well, they're just high-flying spot monkeys that can't really tell a story in the ring.
Of all of them, the ones I really stand up with the Young Bucks just for their performances in the ring, but that's all I've got to say.
Why do indie wrestlers seem to have better finishers than TNA or WWE people? Oh, there are so many reasons for this. Probably number one, I actually don't think the wrestlers have better finishers because they do all sorts of stupid-ass shit to lead to which makes the finisher seem less effective on the independent scene. So in that sense, I think the finishers aren't better. Second of all, a finisher in ROH, you probably have to do it 5 or 6 times before you even end the fucking match. Whereas at least in TNA, WWE, you don't have to do it 5 times to end the fucking match on, like, let's say, a TV show.
That's one good point, because obviously the non-selling and the
fucking
outstretch.
Ridiculous.
But what we'll say is the indie wrestlers are having to do outrageous, big, amazing stuff to try and impress fans to get them to watch them, because obviously they're in competition with the higher brands.
So I think paid nothing.
Well, that's the point. But again, the more moves they do, the more impressive stuff. Shows like TNA and WWE may look at them thinking, good performer, bring them up. So they have to do these moves, I think.
The Neon Brick. Do you think Shelton Benjamin could go to TNA now? His tag team partner, the Investor MVP, is there. I guess you mean from Japan. No, I don't really see much point in Shelton Benjamin going to TNA. I mean, he's fine in Japan as it is. And Shelton Benjamin would just be an ex-WWE guy that I think would just get lost in the shuffle in TNA, personally.
As much as I would like to see Shelton Benjamin again, I think if he's settled where he is and he's okay with the income and the support he's getting, then stay. But me, personally, I would love to see him again somewhere.
And if he did, what would you do with him? X Division?
TNA, I know TNA fans, of course they will know who he is, but I think feuding with the guys like EC3, Jeff Hardy, stuff like that, little matches like that.
From WWE and TNA, who would you hire, fire, and push? TNA need tag teams, so I think they've already hired the Young Bucks. I would hire some tag teams from the independent scene. I'm not sure what tag teams there are, but they kind of need some tag teams right now, so I would hire some of them. Maybe some new X Division talent I would hire. As for knockouts, I would hire definitely some knockouts. from the independent scene. As for firing, to be honest, can they afford to fire many of the wrestlers they've got?
Yep, I can name 3.
Go on.
That 3 should have been the biggest clue. Bro!
No, I think it's worth keeping them. I think 3MB would be worth fucking firing more than the Bromans. At least the Bromans have been in like a main event or something. As for push, in the WWE, I think a lot of people would love to see Dolph Ziggler get pushed, but it's probably never going to happen. As for TNA, Austin Aries, I'd love to see Austin Aries get pushed again, maybe to a match with Magnus or something.
WWE push. I'm going to say this because the WWE are complete fools and they failed him twice. Cody Rhodes.
Maybe even Wade Barrett as well, I'm just saying. And maybe if this time 2 years ago, Matt fucking Morgan. WWE and TNA talk. What do you think of Hulk Hogan's return to the WWE? It's done to bring eyeballs to the product. He's one of the most well-known people in wrestling. He's also one of the most well-known people in America. So why the fuck wouldn't you bring him back if you knew he was that popular with the casual crowds?
The one biggest complaint fans have had with Hogan, and I cannot blame them because I had the same with Ric Flair, was the fact they went to another wrestling company, did their best to try and make that entertaining, and now they're coming back. Well, he's coming back to the WWE, and they're thinking, well, to be honest, you should have stuck with the WWE or stuck with TNA.
At least in WWE, though, he's not taking over the show. He's just announcing WrestleMania stuff, and just one of the reasons why I prefer him in WWE, to be honest. Howard Starr. If wrestling had no titles, would it be a good program without them? You know, if you had good stories, it could be good, but, you know, I don't really trust WWE could come up with some great stories that would replace titles, to be honest.
If you asked me this back in the Attitude Era, I'd say the championships help to make certain segments, certain matches look good. Now, in the PG era, I'm imagining none of these wrestlers with any belt and just put on wrestling matches. I couldn't tell the difference.
Scorp 18 talks wrestling. What do you think TNA needs to do to get as popular as WWE? Oh, this is simple. Marketing. They need to get their product out there so more than 500 people will turn up to one of their fucking house shows and more than 1,000 people will turn up to one of their biggest fucking pay-per-views of the year. It's marketing. That's the one thing TNA really need to do to be somewhere near as popular as WWE, to expand their brand like WWE have done.
Well, I guess Dixie's 2 tries that didn't work. The going on tour or going to different states.
Because they never advertised it, did they, when they went on tour?
Maybe not. Number 2 is when Dixie tried to get a pay-per-view with Vince McMahon.
Yeah, that was never really going to work, was it? I mean, to be honest, what was Vince McMahon going to gain from that? Nothing. So why the fuck would he even put that out there? Sir Lord Mark. Do you think Vince will ever spread his wings outside the US? Fan answer and business answer. It would be good if they did have like a pay-per-view in the UK or maybe even in Europe or in Australia or something where, you know, the fans don't really get to see the WWE much. I mean, they used to have pay-per-views in England, didn't they? Insurrection, Rebellion. They used to have the Australian tour, the British tour they still have now. I mean, TNA are doing a good job of... I mean, I loved it if TNA had Lockdown in the UK. That would have been good.
They would have got more fans at their
definitely, and more noise.
Yeah, but as for more of a fan, I think, to be honest, I know the WWE would have to do a lot of work trying to fix around the time and stuff. But for them to come to the UK for one of the big 4 pay-per-views and actually give us something special, manage to make it work, see what reaction they get, give us something special. Yes, it's a risk to take because they know they're going to work in the repeated states they go to, but I think it'd be worth it.
I mean, they could sell out Wembley Stadium pretty easily. I imagine merchandise sales would be great because this would be like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for wrestling fans in the UK. You've got to imagine, people that are going there for a once-in-a-lifetime event are more likely to spend more money than, say, people in America that are probably going to their 6th or 5th event because it's in their area. That's all I'm going to say. As for a business answer, you know, it would be... I mean, I don't see what the issue is. I mean, of course, you've got the time difference, but if you started the pay-per-view at, say, you know, 6 o'clock our time on a Sunday, it would be like 1, 2 o'clock in the States, and would that really be that much of an issue? Don't really think it would do. So, but as for a business standpoint, you know, I think it would work personally. With the female division just utter rubbish, do you think they should drop the Diva title and bring the women's title like they have in NXT? Wouldn't really make too much of a difference.
I'm going to say no, because... Again, it's like what they're doing with the Intercontinental. The Intercontinental is like their pure gold mid-card championship, and they're not treating it that way. Bringing back the women's, which held a lot of importance behind it, I think bringing that back, and they're not treating that with the respect it deserves, no.
No point. How would you bring up your homegirl Paige? With her being so good yet young, how would you push her without letting her fall in the face? Well, I'd probably have her in developmental a little bit longer just to see how she would carry that NXT Women's Championship. What I would also do is, while she is in NXT, I would bring people down such as AJ, such as Natalia, such, other people like that have been on the roster for quite a long amount of time. Maybe one of the Bellas or something like that. And maybe work some kind of temporary program with her on NXT just to see how she reacts to being in some kind of storyline. And if she reacts well, you can bring her to TV and push her as this anti-diva kind of character.
I think that's it. I think, again, maybe build up to next, either WrestleMania or one of the big pay-per-views, and have her have a long title run, hold her belt up, and want to face the WWE Divas Champion and have a clash of the championships.
Yeah, that'll be good. Imagine Paige, NXT Women's Champion, versus like AJ Lee, the WWE Divas. That'll be a pretty good match. I'll say that. Can't really pronounce this name. T3ABA GT3RR0R15T. I think that's supposed to be like Teabag Terrorist. I think that's what it is. Who do you think is the best WWE superstar on the current roster at playing a heel? It's Triple H, isn't it? It's got to be Triple H. I mean, after that main event segment on Raw where he beat down Daniel Bryan, and probably Stephanie McMahon as well.
She's
both very good heels.
I'm going to give it to Triple H. Orton from the past. Bray's doing great.
Oh yeah, Bray Wyatt.
Right now it's Triple H.
But things with Bray Wyatt is he's good at being a heel, but he's not getting booed that much. He's getting cheered a lot. And as for Batista, he's getting booed a lot. So I'd say he's playing a damn good heel right now. Who do you think was the best heel of the past decade? Oh,
say it again.
I mean, once again, Triple H was a damn good heel. I think Ric Flair was also a damn good heel.
Orton. Decade. Past then, when he was the Legend Kid and stuff.
Vince McMahon was a damn good heel as well, I'll say that.
Barrett in the Nexus.
In the Nexus for like a year or so. What would you consider the greatest heel turn of all time? A lot of people will say Austin at WrestleMania 17, but that was a stupid fucking heel turn in my opinion. Any other good heel
The
turns?
Rock, when he went against Hogan. When it changed, when he went in as a face, turned as a heel.
Not technically a heel turn, but that was a heel turn. That did kind of make the match. But when The Rock turned heel on Mankind, I believe it was Survivor Series 1998. No, I think it was 1998 or 1999, one of the two. When everyone thought Mick Foley was with the corporation and The Rock turned heel at the last minute.
One small one. It's not going to be the greatest of all time, so I apologise for saying this. It's when Matt Hardy turned on Jeff Hardy. Whack with the chair, down he went.
Especially, it was made even better by the fact that he helped Edge, his longtime rival, beat Jeff Hardy. Hey, if you don't remember, us two, we're just seeing these questions from, for the first time. So if you have any, great heel turns, please let us know. We may have missed some. In fact, we've definitely missed some. I know that. Do you think they should make some kind of mid-card championship for NXT to give more wrestlers something to do? I did like the FCW 15 championship, which was basically a 15-minute match where whoever got the most falls won. I did like that concept as it gave wrestlers a chance to work longer matches and see how they would do there. As for a mid-card championship for NXT, I don't think it needs it right now. The show is only an hour long. You've already got tag team, you've already got women's, you've already got world title. So I think a mid-card belt right now is a little bit pointless unless you can get more characters on the show and more people in feuds, etc.
To be honest, I think sticking NXT with the great wrestling and great matches and way to build them up to the main roster is better. Adding a championship is making them feel like a proper show, yes, but building up to the WWE is the main goal.
Yes. The 299. What are your top 5 favorite Attitude Era feuds? Well, Vince versus Austin was the main one.
I'd say that, yeah.
Rock, Triple H. Always loved that feud.
Brilliant. They did it. I'm going to go with... It'll have to
Kane
be...
and Undertaker was another good feud.
Here we go. You ready?
Go on.
Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
And...
Totally agree.
Hardy.
I reckon the feud involving Jericho and was it Jericho and Angle or Jericho and Cut and Benoit?
Jericho and Benoit.
Any feud involving them three was generally seen as pretty good, so we'll go with those. Any others you can think of before we move on?
I'd say when it actually happened, when they broke up like the Radicals, and then you had Eddie Guerrero Bradshaw feuding with Chris Benoit.
Daniel, your top 5 Man United players in order since you've been watching are Giggsy #1, Cantona, gotta love Cantona, Van Nistelrooy, great goal scorer, Cristiano Ronaldo, world-class player, David Beckham, I could make Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, Jap Stan was a great. Peter Schmeichel, Gary Neville, Dennis Irwin. There are so many good players. I can't really say a top 5 because there's just been so many damn good players for Man United during the time. It's impossible for me to have a top 5. And that has been it for another Q&A. If you have any questions for our WrestleMania Q&A, which is next week, like I said, the best place to put it would be in the comment section below down there. We will get through as many as we can. We already have quite a lot from questions that you've asked before, but if you can add some more to that list, it will make the Q&A a lot more interesting, and there'll be a little bit more variation in there, other than Daniel Bryan questions, which seem to have a lot of.
Well, come on, guys. Let's make this next Q&A the biggest one we've seen in a long time. Sending as many questions possible. I'll be mentioning this in videos just to get this out there, to give us the biggest video for you guys to watch. And from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, thank you guys very much for watching, and goodbye. Run.